The morning of the 10th of Muharram, 61 AD, arrived over the plains of Karbala with an unusual stillness. For several days, events had been moving steadily towards a conclusion. The caravan of Imam Husayn ibn Ali radiallahu anhu had been surrounded, restricted in movement, and subjected to increasing hardship. The previous night had passed in worship, reflection, and preparation. Now, the final day had begun. Before open battle commenced, historical sources record that Imam Husayn radiallahu anhu addressed those around him. These statements were not battlefield instructions in an ordinary sense. They served a broader purpose. These statements would later be remembered as among the final public words delivered in Karbala before the confrontation began. This moment is often referred to as the final sermon. As daylight emerged over Karbala, the environment shifted from anticipation to immediacy. The long sequence of preceding events had now reached its final phase. The military presence that had gradually expanded over previous days was fully assembled. Lines had formed. Positions were established. The atmosphere had changed from tension to final readiness. According to historical narrations, Imam Husayn radiallahu anhu spoke before the commencement of battle. In these reports, he reminded the opposing forces of his identity and lineage. Historical works, such as Tarikh al-Tabari, preserve accounts in which he called attention to his relationship with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the grandson of Muhammad. The purpose of these statements was clear. They were intended as a final appeal to reflection. Before swords were drawn, words were given their final opportunity. This aspect is central to the historical memory of the moment. The final sermon was not merely a speech, it was an act of clarification. Historical sources indicate that Imam Husayn's words emphasized his position and the circumstances that had led to Karbala. He addressed the reality of invitations previously sent from Kufa. He clarified that his presence had not been initiated as aggression. These statements are important because they place the events of Karbala within their broader political and historical context. This was not presented as an isolated battlefield conflict. It was the final stage of a longer chain of developments. The sermon, therefore, functioned as a public summary of principle and circumstance. Reports also indicate that Imam Husayn radiallahu anhu addressed those with him. The significance of this moment lies in its timing. This was no longer the night before battle. This was the morning itself. There was no remaining ambiguity regarding what was about to unfold. And yet, according to historical memory, the camp remained united. This continuity from the previous night into the morning reinforces one of the strongest themes preserved in Karbala's narrative: steadfastness under clarity. One of the most powerful historical features of this morning is its structure. Before battle began, there was speech. After battle began, history would be shaped by action. The final sermon therefore stands as a threshold moment. It represents the last major verbal address before events moved irreversibly forward. Words had reached their final stage. The remaining chapter would unfold differently. This gives the sermon a unique place in the Karbala timeline. The final sermon is not memorized merely for its content. It is remembered for its position in time. It occurred at the precise boundary between delay and action, between night and battle, between preparation and confrontation. According to historical sources, this makes it one of the defining moments of Ashura morning. The speech preserved intention, it preserved clarity, and after these words, the day of Ashura moved forward.